Well, a very good afternoon, or is it evening? Strange how we make mistakes with simple things. Yes, before 6 p.m. is still good afternoon, and after 6 p.m. it's good evening. No disrespect to you, just trying to make sure we cover the bases so that we start addressing the time of the day at least correctly. Politicians included make the same mistake. This is Blog 14, I'm Robert Amar, and this is a very fine Friday afternoon. I have my head videographer, so to speak, Devon, behind me to make sure I get the blog on in time. I think it's important that we make sure that people see these blogs as they're supposed to be seen. What a week. Started off with a lot of controversy. This whole situation of precepting of the military people to falling into the ranks of police officers, giving them arrest powers, or giving them the powers to act as police, seems to be causing a lot of confusion. In the recently concluded post-cabinet meeting where Mr. Warner addressed the country, he was very, very clear when I questioned whether or not the issues of the sunset clause and the issue of having the military people have the right to detain instead of having the right of arrest powers, that particular change would help to make this become a part of the law of Trinidad and Tobago. In his own words, he said he couldn't answer because it was something that had to be addressed by the Attorney General, but in the mix of things, he would pass it on as a sort of issue that the Attorney General may consider to address. I don't expect that it will be addressed. What is kind of strange is that they're talking about bringing together the independent senators to meet with those who are involved in the police, the regiment, the Coast Guard, all of the different arms of the security services of the country, to win their support, so to speak. Is it considered, can we consider it bribery? That they're trying to bribe the independent senators? Is that at all ethical? Should the issues not be ventilated in the place where it is supposed to be ventilated? The parliament, where if they can sell the idea, then it could be sold there and then. It doesn't seem as if though they feel they will have the success of selling the idea in the parliament. So the only choice now is to coerce these independent senators because they are 4 short in achieving their objective. 4 have spoken already, and those 4, from all indications, are saying no. I asked whether or not there's going to be any changes to this particular piece of legislation, and he was very, very clear. He said, according to his information, there was going to be no changes. How could the future ever be safe or clear if the present has had problems and no changes will be made to the bill? How is it possible that the other 4 independents could find merit in passing it? He was very cool, calm, casual when I asked him, well, what happens if the bill doesn't pass? He says, well, then we'll check our options. So what is the importance to Trinidad and Tobago now? Murders are not continuing at the rate they were, but they have continued. As a matter of fact, gruesome ones at that. The young lady who was emboweled or disemboweled. Do you know them disemboweling anybody just like that? Do we have any information as to whether this young woman must have been somewhere in the cycle of possibly having a baby? I understand that there are some serious implications and issues that have to be dealt with the same military service personnel. As a matter of fact, I had a dream that that was the issue. But nonetheless, I don't know. You know, some people are born with 6th sense. And I don't mean 6th sense, meaning S-I-C-K. You understand? I mean a 6th sense. And it's possible that that came alive in me some night while I was asleep. But I'm wondering, I haven't heard anybody ask that question about that young. So we are now left in a position of wondering whether or not doing what they are suggesting would make sense. In the end, I have a firm view that if the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago is worried about the cost of the military from the price point, as in the possible opinion, they are not really earning their keep. In the sense we are paying like CPEP and URP to some extent. Not that this is so, do not misquote me, but it is as if though one expects, and I'm saying one meaning the Prime Minister and her cohorts, expects more for the money they are spending in the military. Ralph Brown doesn't see it that way. In his view, these guys work real hard. They work 24 hours a day and do not get any overtime. This is what finally pushed my question to the Minister of National Security to inquire from him, have you ever thought of VSEPing the military persons? Obviously, they are published in the newspapers. They are looking for more people to head into the police service. If the money we are spending in the national security relative to the military side is not justifying the cost for that money, whichever way, should we not offer those people an option to their service? I believe these people would have had some credibility over the time, and as such it means to say that they would be at a point where we could start with them much quicker than with our brand new spring chicken, so to speak. So lots of questions have to be asked, and a lot of answers are not coming. My sixth, and I mean S-I, where's that boy? X-T-H, is it? Maybe. My other sense tells me that this bill will fail. And while Mr. Warner has given the sort of indication that the country wants this, it's really a few people, high profile, who have come out both at the chamber and in San Fernando to really say that they feel this is the right way to go. But is the population feeling like this? If it is one thing I think it would do, it will definitely help us rogue out the rogues. Because with the military on the back of the police, or the police on the back of the military, the guard will really be guarding the guards. In a big way, maybe we should really leave it the way it is and continue to get the results. Except the politicians continue to tell us, here what? This thing really needs to be legitimized. Well, are they telling us that it's operating illegal now? Although there are people within the system have told us it has been around for the last 45 years. It seems as though the results are working according to Mr. Warner. He gives the impression that in the hotspots areas, the people in those areas are happy for it. Well, if it's working under the present system that it is now, why don't we just maintain it? What is the problem? What are the issues? What do we want? The problem is crime is out of control. The issues is that murders and other types of gruesome crimes are on the rise, and the population requires that the government do what is right. You know, fascinating in all of this, believe it or not, is that at this stage of our lives in this country, with all that they would have done, they still can't fire the police. So should they really have been fixing the police service rules, laws, and getting the parliament to make the necessary changes so that we could discipline and fire police officers like the one who has really caused a havoc in the Silots area? Mind you, I don't care whether there is any fact with regards to him vis-a-vis his condition at the time of the accident. What I care about is the following. 3 people are gone, dead. A vehicular accident caused their death. It had a driver of the motor car that caused the death of those 3 people. And most important, the driver was removed from the car. It was not being driven by a ghost. With that said, it identifies clearly that the situation is the vehicle takes the lives of 3. Person in vehicle responsible for that. The law, I think, clearly specifies that person should have already been charged for vehicular manslaughter. If he has to be charged for other things because they find other issues, that will then determine only the length of the penalty that he will have to pay. But does he have to pay a penalty because he took the lives of 3 people? You better believe he's responsible for that. And that can also encompass jail time. Jail time. Marshal Montano got away from jail time. That does not mean to say that this police officer, off duty or otherwise, will get away from jail time. As I close the blog for this week, I remind you that I congratulate Louis Lee Singh for his very, very, shall I say, strong position in bringing order to disorder, which is why this country is out of order. And the politicians need to do something to fix it. So I again suggest, change the laws of opening and closing hours for bars, restaurants, nightclubs to be more in conformity with what is accepted in the developed world. Now if you disagree with that, then sorry to tell you, you're a dunce. And then in addition to that, fix the laws with regards to alcoholic beverages being consumed in the cabin of the motor car. And make sure that bars also carry responsibility for people who get in accidents after they leave a bar. On the final note, I see that there is still no answer for the blackout. Yes, the one that caused the whole country, both Trinidad and Tobago, although Tobago went 1 hour later. There's no answers. The big, high-powered Roger is saying it wasn't a person's error who works in the company, but it was a management error. Be as it may, something is wrong, and we need to fix it fast. We wait to see what's going to happen, because in the next couple of days the Senate comes back, and again, as I tell you, I'm not holding my breath, people, unless it has oxygen, a mask, and I'm underwater. You could hold yours. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Until next week, when I'll be back, watch it, people. It's worse than you think. A society and a country being led without a head is like a chicken without an egg.